back to the Fans Perspective. I am Double A Ron.
I'm Westicles.
And on this edition of the Fans Perspective, which is a podcast that brings you all things comics, we're going to give you our top 10 lists of heroes you shouldn't root for.
The people that everyone likes but don't really understand that they really shouldn't like them.
The way this is going to work is we both have top 10s. I'm going to reveal my number 10. Then he's going to reveal his number 10. We'll have a brief discussion, and it'll go up from there all the way to number 1. So I don't see a reason to prolong this, unless you do.
No, on the list.
All right, then. So my number 10 is Gambit. Gambit from the X-Men. I don't think that you should ever root for Gambit, ever.
I mean, he's a bit of a prick and definitely a thief, so I kind of see some point.
Well, it's just like, not only is he a prick in general and a thief, I think that everything that Gambit does is for Gambit. Like, even if you think about the times where he's done something, he's gone out of his way, like for Rogue, it's so he could tap that ass one day. He only cares about Gambit.
Yeah, he's selfish. That's for sure. Oh, well, anyway, onward. My number 10 is actually Lobo, DC Universe.
You consider Lobo a hero?
Yeah. He's not really an anti-hero. So, I mean, he's a mercenary, sure. He's really on the line, even though he does
I feel like we should
good things.
We should root for him because he's the main man.
Yeah, the main man. He's kind of a badass. But the problem with it is, with the fact that he does like to do good things, for money and for fame, and so people like him even more because, he's the main man, comes this superiority thing where he really likes fighting people just for the challenge of it. So basically, in the end, what he wants to do more than anything is kick people's asses just because they look like they should get their asses kicked.
But don't we do that every day? Isn't that what the UFC's for?
Pretty much. I just think he's a royal prick in the end just because of that. Oh, look, you look tough. I'm going to kick your fucking ass.
I'll give you that. You shouldn't vote for, you shouldn't go for Lobo because he's a high school jock bully prick.
Yeah.
Just in
an entertaining high school jock bully prick that's still kind of a good guy.
I'll give you that.
But slaughtering his whole planet, but...
I was going to say, plus that,
you
don't know his origin.
That's kind of a little asterisk next to him.
He brutally slaughtered. Not killed, not in a fight. He slaughtered the entirety of his home planet.
His whole origin story. I'm really just referring to him in his current state. Where, he's a mercenary, but he's more hero-ish just because he's always on the good guy's side.
Moving right along with my number 9. Number 9, The Punisher. You really, really should not root for The Punisher. Because think about this, okay? Usually, they make movies about guys like The Punisher where somebody gets their family killed and then they take revenge on the person who did it. But that's usually the end of it. The Punisher kept going.
Yeah.
You know what we call those people? Mass murderers.
Yeah.
He's a serial killer. And no one should ever root for that guy.
I am all for vigilantism, but there's a difference between, you did something bad, I'm going to punish you equal to your crime. And then there's the Punisher. Oh, you did drugs once in high school?
Yeah, he blew up a fucking insurance building one time. Because I believe the guy kicked a family out of their house. He blew up a whole insurance building.
The whole building.
Oh, so one of you acted like this? The rest of your 30,000 employees must be the same way. Boom!
He's reckless.
Just fucking destroyed. He kills people because it's so he can go home later at night, masturbate, and feel good about himself. That's why he does things. And it makes me sad that people are like, the Punisher's so awesome. Oh yeah, you ripped that guy's jawbone off for eating a popsicle in front of him.
Yeah.
I don't feel like you should root for the Punisher.
He's ruthless, and that's never a good trait in a hero.
But he is a hero,
He's anti-hero, but hero nonetheless.
Still. Who's your number 9?
My number 9, and on the same note as the Punisher, actually, just Jason Todd, the Red Hood, in his reincarnated self, which, spoiler alert, he died and then he came back eventually. But he's now a vigilante in Gotham. Oh, sure, kind of like Batman, but instead of, batarangs, it's Uzis and such. And, again, the same ruthless kind of justice the Punisher deals out. Only difference is he's slightly more lenient.
Yeah, and you have to understand, too,
it's not like, oh, you did drugs,
he doesn't do it because he's a good guy. He does it because the Joker beat him to death.
Not to mention the Lazarus pits. The thing is, it left him not entirely there.
I'm just saying, he's mad because the Joker beat him to death, and he blames every bad guy in Gotham for it.
Yeah, so, take out the Uzis.
This is your fault. Bang.
Kill him.
How dare you beat me to death? And the guy who just stole the woman's purse is like, no, seriously, who beat you to death? I wasn't part of that. And then he gets, pumped full of a whole goddamn clip.
Yep. Yeah. Also not a patient man. Oh, you wanted a trial? No, I'm just going to gun you down on the fact that you might have done it.
Yeah.
You're very likely to have done it. Frame jobs usually end with innocents dying when it comes to the Red Hood.
You're a 6-foot-tall white man. This APB says 6-foot-tall white man. Bang. Forget the fact that I'm a 6-foot-tall white man. Yeah. And I could have done this. Oh, wait, it was me.
Oops.
He just stupid. Moving right along, we're going to stay in Gotham, and I know you're going to disagree with me, but Batman.
I think he is perfectly good to root for.
I don't think you should.
His extent to which he goes to save a life is a little extreme sometimes. There's a few people you should have let die.
I don't think you should root for Batman. I really don't. I understand, his parents died, and so he set off on this lifelong journey to rid, not even the world, mind you. It's just Gotham. Batman gives zero fucks about the realm outside of Gotham unless it's somebody's about to destroy the world, which means Gotham doesn't exist anymore. Batman is one of the most selfish fucking heroes I have ever read about. He is so goddamn selfish. I don't want to kill my villains, because what else would I do with my time?
I don't in a way. Yeah, you're half right on that.
I don't want to close down Arkham Asylum, because what would I do without it? He's selfish, and he doesn't, like I said, he'll watch the Joker melt people's faces with his acid flower and be like, well, back to the penitentiary with you, you bastard. And he'll berate him the whole fucking Batmobile drive there. He'll fucking berate the Joker. How could you do such a thing? And the Joker is sitting there like, seriously, bro? Do you use common sense and logic? You're the world's greatest detective, but the world's dumbest son of a bitch. You can't understand that I melted their faces in front of you because I knew you'd let me? You stupid fuck.
Yeah. The Joker's
That's why it's not that I
thing.
love Batman. I love the character. I love reading the comics. I don't think you should root for the guy. Seriously, Ra's al Ghul has it right in my opinion. Blow Gotham up, because then Batman would actually do some good for the world.
Well, he does good
Batman's
for the world's
like
innocence.
A scared child when it comes to Gotham. Take Gotham away, but it's my favorite toy. It's just fucking ridiculous. You shouldn't root for him. I hope Killer Croc bites his neck off someday.
All right.
So that's my number 8.
Well, I'm sure this name will come up again later down the list, but my number 8 is actually probably the most selfish man in all of comics, even if he's a hero. John Constantine is a real prick when it comes down to it. He, despite the fact that, yes, he fights for the good guys, but the fact of the matter is, he fights for them, and the entire time is manipulating them for his own gains. The entire time. He's playing this frickin' puppet act to get what he wants out of every single one of them. It's almost like he's a mercenary, but instead of just outright telling them what he wants out of them, he manipulates them psychologically, emotionally, and through all sorts of means to get what he wants out of them. Just because he knows he can, and because he wants as much for himself as possible. Sure, he is a good guy, but
I guess.
Dear Lord.
I guess he's a good guy. He should be on the list. He's on mine. He's just a little higher up. Number 7. This one is more really for my own personal opinions about the character himself, but Cyclops. I don't think in any realm of my imagination should you have ever voted for Cyclops. You should never root for the bastard. He's the worst leader, statistically, the worst leader in X-Men history.
Yeah. And in fact, I'm going to go ahead and just say it right now. He is also my number 7.
Okay, so we're on the same page here.
He really is.
Cyclops
just
is
a bad leader.
He's statistically the worst leader. He is the most jealous hero I think I've ever read. Like seriously, Jean Grey. It's not even Wolverine. Like Jean Grey's been like, "Hey, what's going on, Beast?" And Cyclops is like, "What's your fucking problem, Beast? You fucking trying to fuck my girl with your blue hairy penis? I'll kill you, motherfucker." He kind of reminds me of School for Scoundrels when he's just like, "I will kill you. Give me the Danish." But the Danish is Jean Grey. Like he's like, "I'll kill you." And then when she dies, he's like, "All right, where's the next hot piece of ass? Emma Frost. You're a psychic, right?"
You left out the part where he goes into a terminal depression where he actually doesn't give a shit about anyone on his team, yet he still leads them. Where, that's usually the point in the story, kids, where people die.
I was gonna say, if you look at the different people who've led, if you look at when Wolverine led, I think one X-Men.
He's actually one of the better leaders.
I think only one X-Men died.
He's actually probably
my memory is a little
leader.
fuzzy. It's been a while since I've read that arc of the X-Men story.
He is currently the leader of the X-Men.
But I'm just saying, not a whole lot of people died under Wolverine's tutelage.
Yeah,
Storm when she was the leader, not a whole lot of people died.
Yeah, and then to bring up Cyclops again. The only reason Storm got the leadership in the first place is because they called Cyclops out for being unfit, and then he threw a tantrum. Nearly killed Storm. I only say that because she avoided it, whereas it probably would have killed her if he'd done it anyway. They fought for the throne. Pointless fucking tantrum turned into a fight for the throne of leadership to someone who clearly doesn't deserve it. Therefore, Storm won. And she was a fit leader.
It's weird for me to see diehard Cyclops fans.
I don't understand how they can exist.
People are like, he's the most awesome character. I'm like, really?
I don't truly.
You know what the worst part is?
Him, but...
The worst part is that I heard one of them go, "It's because of the movies."
That's even worse.
No.
They didn't even do anything right in the movies.
Somebody literally was like, Cyclops is a badass in the movies. And I'm like, really? Why? Well, because he does the one thing with his eyes.
Yeah, sure. He can hit like a fucking sack of bricks.
It's you know what he is? He's Mike Tyson. He's got an epic right hand or, right eye in his fucking case. But, once he starts talking, he loses all fucking semblance of badass.
Yeah, and then things don't go his way. He'll bite your fucking ear off.
Moving right along to number 6, and this one hurts me. This hurts me because of how diehard of a fan I am. I knew I had to put him on the list.
I already know we're on the
Iron
same
Man.
page. Yeah, Iron Man's my 6 too.
I'm so sad. I want to cry because I love Iron Man, but you should never ever root for Iron Man.
He is an alcoholic.
For any reason other
egotist.
Look at Civil War, and if you haven't read Civil War. Go read Civil War.
I don't know why we talk like we're talking to kindergartners sometimes.
Because some of our viewers are going to know what we're talking about. Some of our listeners, they're going to know.
Oh, no, you're right. We should demean the ones that don't know what they're talking about. No.
Some people don't know.
That's true.
Some listeners, hopefully some of our listeners are new listeners. They're new to the comic book scene. And, if somebody...
I sure hope we're helping them get into comics.
If somebody hasn't told you by now to go read Civil War, then shame on whoever is around you.
Yeah. And
go read Civil War. If you have read Civil War, read it again because I said so. But, it really does hurt me to say it, because, I really do. I love Iron Man, but he's about as selfish as they come.
Yeah.
Everything he does is for Tony Stark.
Yeah.
Even his involvement with the Avengers is all because it furthers Iron Man's name. Yeah. Because he wants to market Iron Man. Which is one of the things that I've always thought was weird. Iron Man's always been Tony Stark's always been the Iron Man suit is mine. But he does everything he can to market it so that one day when he gets too old, he can sell the suit. I swear to God, that's what he's doing.
admittedly, he might go for the worthy people, but it does seem sometimes like he just really wants to have his name live on like that.
Well, like, think about it. Like, as much as, like, look at his love interest, too. Like, Pepper. I do believe that he loves Pepper, but why does he love her? Because she runs his whole fucking life while he can do whatever the fuck he feels like doing.
That is the most selfish love ever.
If Pepper didn't do that, he wouldn't love Pepper. He'd be like, get this bitch out of my sight and find me some other blonde chick who'll do everything I say to. Maybe this one will suck my balls once in a while, Pepper. Like, I feel like sometimes that's what he wants to say to her, because he's a selfish prick, and that's what he is. I mean, so you should, like, and I read them. I read the Iron Man, like, story arcs, and I'm like, why? Like, especially Iron Man 2. I felt so bad for Whiplash. Like, I was like, he's like, your father steal my father's. Like, yeah, he did, though, because Howard was a jackass, too.
Yeah.
And Tony's just like, yeah, and he walks in just like a pompous asshole. Hey, if you wanted to beat me, you should have doubled your rotations, you stupid son of a bitch. Nobody cares that your father's dead. Fuck you and your bird. Like, you shouldn't root for him. He's an asshole.
Yeah.
But I do, because I'm a stupid
asshole. Even to his friends,
asshole.
He's just an utter dick. I mean, part of the big things in Civil War where he was a dick was, he's really good friends with Peter Parker, teams up with him, or like Spider-Man, for the unmasking, the Registration Act, where everyone should have their secret identity exposed. Peter Parker goes along with it, unmasks on TV. Naturally, his life goes to complete and utter shit. So he goes to his buddy Iron Man about it. Man, my life's fallen apart since the reveal. That sucks. And Tony Stark's best reaction is, you turning on me?
Yeah. He was literally like, what'd you say? Your girlfriend's dead? This ain't about your stupid ass bitch girlfriend. This is all about the fact that you're about to go fucking find Captain America and tell him what I'm up to. You stupid little bastard. Like,
yeah, that's
don't come to me about your shitty life. Look at all my money. I don't care about you. It's like,
and then he throws Spider-Man out the fucking window.
Iron Man literally reminds me of, like, I feel like, I know it wasn't, because as awesome as Seth MacFarlane is, he's not this awesome. I feel like when they get all the money, like all that money from, I think it's like welfare or something like that, when Peter hands Lois money, he's like, here, go buy yourself some more money. Like, I feel like when I see that, I think of Tony Stark, and I'm like,
yeah, like, pretty accurate too.
So that is why he's number 6 on my list.
Me too.
Number 5 for my list, and I know that he really borders anti-hero, but it's Deadpool.
Yeah. I think he's a genuine hero nowadays.
But you shouldn't root for him.
But yeah, he's pretty.
I don't care what he does now. Like, I don't care. Like, you can't, like, this, like, comics don't get reboots. Like, you can be great now, but you still, like, if you look at a comic book character's full body of work, like, especially Deadpool's, you should never root for Deadpool. Deadpool is literally like, oh, blow up an orphanage, I'll do that. Boom, look at that, $30,000, time to buy some fucking chimichangas.
Oh, no, wait, no.
Like,
yeah, you mix that up a little bit. He'd happily blow up the old folks' home. Anything. Kids, he's got a thing against killing kids.
He's blown up orphanages, though.
But without the kids in them.
It still blew up. I'm not gonna kill you, I'm gonna take away the last remaining home you have. I want to watch the tears and masturbate to them with my disfigured penis. Like, that is Deadpool. He's such, and he doesn't care. Like, if you really want to see, like, somebody who doesn't care, it's Deadpool. Depending on whatever personality box is up at the time, like, he doesn't give a fuck.
The comedic value stuff, well, yeah, that's not going to give a shit. They make plenty of fucking jokes about it, especially when he was just straight mercenary. But no, he genuinely regrets just about everything he did during his mercenary career.
Well, he can regret it all he wants, but that doesn't mean you should root for him now.
No,
that'd be like if Charles Manson.
I see your points.
That'd be like if Charles Manson came out, repented, became a born again Christian, and started doing fucking televangelist kind of shit. It's just like, yeah, that's great that he's trying to save people now, but remember when he murdered 13 people and took that baby out of that woman with a fork? That was fucking cool. Remember that? Like, that's what I feel like we do with Deadpool. Like, remember when he killed that whole town of people? But it's so fucking awesome that he destroyed that tank now. It's fucking stupid. Like,
Yeah.
and the amount of blind, because I hate stupid people. Like, and the amount of stupid comic book fans there are who are just like, oh, this character's awesome. Like, why are they awesome?
Why are
assholes?
they awesome?
Like, that's when you can tell, like, the TV fans or the movie fans from the real fans.
Yeah.
The ones who are like, I love Cyclops. And fucking real nerds are like, I'm sorry, what did you say?
Yeah.
And they give you the laundry list of shit that we gave you.
Exactly.
So what about you? Who's your number?
Well, my number 5 is actually the Punisher.
Oh, wow.
So, I put him a little higher up than you did because, honestly, he is so indiscriminate about the level of their crime.
Equal opportunity killer, man.
I mean, yeah. Ooh, he's a Punisher. Yeah, he sure punishes excessively, repeatedly, in the face with a shotgun.
You ever seen, have you ever seen Me, Myself, and Irene?
Yeah.
Okay, do you remember when, like, his, like, schizophrenic shit started, and he's, like, holding the little girl underwater?
Yeah.
Because she's, like, jump roping in the street? I feel like that's the Punisher.
That is the Punisher, essentially. I mean, granted, no one jump roping in the street's going to get in trouble with him, but damn it, they were jaywalking.
Yeah, and they need to be punished accordingly. And by accordingly, I mean they need to have their kneecap taken out by a baseball bat.
Yeah, that's pretty
least.
punishable.
Like that's at the least though. Like his most tame shit is like ripping jaws off. Like
yeah,
he doesn't walk
fond
up,
of the jaw rip.
He doesn't walk up and just punch people for their shit and say stop that. He's like, here, let me ruin your life for the next 6 weeks. And I'm gonna break a bone.
You can't say he doesn't overkill with style.
I guess. I mean, it's kind of ridiculous though. So I can see why you put him up there. Number 4, and this is strictly for the kind of person that this character's portrayed. My number 4 is Ant-Man.
Oh.
Okay, for those of you who don't know Ant-Man, like Ant-Man, yeah, you probably have seen him in like Avengers, like the animated movies and stuff like that. If you don't know Ant-Man the character, he is a wife-beating,
he is
alcoholic,
yeah.
fucking thinks he's better than everybody. Just he's got any characteristic you can think of that you'd hate in any person you know, and they wrapped it all into one gigantic asshole.
Yeah, basically what you would want to, what I would say here, he's got the egotism of Tony Stark, the just sheer selfishness of Constantine, without the ability, the social intelligence to manipulate people like that, but he tries to intelligently bully them into getting him what he wants.
It doesn't even have to be intelligently. He's just like,
no, he just
seriously.
tries to be intelligent about it.
No, I'm just saying, like, seriously, he's been like, seriously, if you don't go get me the Pepsi, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna fucking grow
Guess what?
to
You don't get my help.
No, I'm gonna grow to exponential sizes, and I'm gonna kick you in the nuts. Like, that's what I'm going to do to you if you don't give me that Pepsi right now. And like the Avengers, they're like, hey, can you help us save the world? He's like, can I get my own lab? And they're like, no, we can't expend that. And he's like, well, if you don't give me my own lab, and if I'm not head of the team, fuck you guys. Like, I don't want to be part of it.
He repeatedly has held the world-saving device or whatever that he usually invents, admittedly.
But it's still like...
He holds it hostage.
It's still like...
Over petty demands.
They're like, seriously, can we use your shrink ray? Because there's this big thing about to destroy Manhattan. He's just like, yeah, what are you going to do for me? It's like, thanks, man. We could have saved Manhattan. Like,
yeah.
And his response will be like, well, should have gotten me the helicopter sooner. That's all I'm saying.
And when they get pissed at him, and you know, like, oh, you son of a bitch, he becomes a little whiny baby.
And then he beats Wasp.
And then when he gets in private with Wasp, she says, oh, honey, we should go to bed. Bitch!
He just bitch slaps her. She's like,
what?
Even when she's on his side, she's like, seriously, it wasn't that unreasonable a request. Oh my God! Shut the fuck up, bitch! I know it was unreasonable. I was there. As he stomps her fucking ankle in, like he's a wife-beating, self-centered cocksucker.
Piece of shit. I mean,
and the fact that he has fans like buy his T-shirts, they're stupid. Yeah. You know what? I love to see women Ant-Man fans. I'm like, you guys are the stupid. It's like seeing women who like rap music. They're like, oh, I love rap music. It's like, yeah, because I believe he's called you, and I mean you. He said your name. Like, he called you a bitch and a hoe in the same sentence, and you like his song? Like, that's what I think of when I see a female Ant-Man, like, fan. I'm like, yeah? So do you like men who just beat the shit out of you and then drink beer and then piss on your face when you're sleeping?
Yeah.
Like, that's what he does. And they're like, no, it's just awesome. I'm just stupid bitch.
Thank God they fucking redeemed the name of Ant-Man a little bit in the later 3 iterations of the character, but not Hank Pym himself.
Like, okay, yeah.
Hank Pym is
to
the true bastard
to
here.
reiterate, we are talking about Hank Pym.
The other guys are actually fine. They
But
got their own shit.
it took them 2 more guys to make up for that. Like,
Yeah.
they had Hank Pym, and then they had the guy who.
They tried to compensate with the guy that is like super nice. He's like, oh dear God, did I accidentally leave that gum where you could step on it? I am so
ridiculous.
sorry.
He's like, oh my God, I can't believe I got here right on time. I should have been here 20 minutes early for the ass kicking that I just received. Like, it's, but the fact that they had to counterbalance it with that obnoxiously nice character just shows you how much of an asshole that Hank Pym is. So who's your number 4?
My number 4, speaking of intelligent assholes, Reed Richards. Number 4. No matter how much, and I think it's because he truly believes that everything he does is for the purpose of good, but that son of a bitch is so stupid when it comes to science. And I mean that in the way that, ooh, science, I'm really good at science, I'm going to do science, yay! Oh, cool, science that could destroy the world. I'm going to keep researching.
He does it
I'm
too.
going to keep building it.
When he opened the black hole, it was like, he literally was like, I'm sorry!
But isn't this cool? He's such an
Sue Storm is walking out the door with the kids, and he's just like, shut up, bitch, I'm doing science.
Yeah,
he's like John Madden in football.
That's my next point, too.
He's literally like John Madden in football. He's like, have you ever seen that Family Guy skit where he's like, come on, football!
Yeah.
Like, that's John Madden. That's Reed Richards with science.
Yeah,
He's like,
and
shut up, Sue. This is science.
Yeah, but that's another thing,
You
too.
wouldn't understand. You're a stupid woman.
The only reason he's the leader of the Fantastic Four is because he's got such a big superiority complex over the rest of them. Because, oh, guess what? I've got no downsides to my power.
I know. He's like...
And then I'm so intelligent. What? Sue, you're smart, sure, but you're just not as smart.
Yeah.
So, I have to be the leader.
I love it how he's just like... How, like, when everybody's talking about, like, when Johnny was like, okay, like, seriously, I can't take a shower without bursting into flames. And, like, she's just like, I keep going invisible for no reason.
I can't help it.
Like,
and
I
then
can't help
Ben's
it.
like,
Ben's
I'm
like,
a rock.
Yeah, he's like Charlie Brown, and then he's just like, well, I got this silver streak in my hair, so you guys don't know the struggle. Like,
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
He got the rogue white streak, and then he's just like, you guys don't know the struggle. Rogaine doesn't work on me, assholes. Just for men doesn't work.
Yeah, and then
you don't know.
and then
He cries and does more science.
Yeah. And then the real root, I guess it is, of why he's so high on my list. I mean, the science thing, I feel like some of that's almost willing. But the shit he pulls in the name of saving the world. I mean, there's this faction called the Illuminati.
Oh,
It sits so well with any of the members, being Doctor Strange, Xavier, Namor, Black Bolt, and Iron Man, and Reed Richards. But basically, out of all of them, Reed Richards is probably almost the most non-caring about what they have to do to save the world. And, this includes starting Planet Hulk, which I don't know if you heard, but it started something called World War Hulk.
Where the Hulk literally came back with an army of his own.
Yeah, it was Reed Richards' idea. Yeah, that won't bother.
Yeah, we'll shoot him off into space.
They'll shoot him into space. Maybe he'll die, maybe he won't.
He'll land
but there's no way he'll come back with a righteous sense of vengeance.
He's like, the Hulk's too stupid. That'll never happen. Like,
and then, oh, lo and behold, a few months later, it totally happened.
You know what the thing about him, though, is like... It's his common sense that bothers me.
I know.
He's literally like, this... He's literally just like, of course this is going to work. Like, and then when it doesn't work, even though most of his plans don't work, he has the most shocked look on his face.
Yeah.
He's like, this will work. And then, like, it happens, he's like, that'll never work. Like,
yeah. And then...
he blames other people. He's like,
yeah.
he's like, the calculations weren't off, Sue. This is your fault because you're on your period this month. Like, he's just so fucking. He's
insane.
such an asshole.
Then Marvel Zombies, I don't know if you heard about it. It's
his fault.
It's an alternate dimension kind of thing. It's his fault. Basically, he's like, oh, I think I hear some of my alternate selves knocking from another dimension. I'm going to go ahead and let them in. There's no way an alternate dimension could possibly yield evil version of me.
He's just terrible. Moving right along, number 3 for me is Rorschach from The Watchmen.
Yeah, he's a bastard.
A
righteous
it's
bastard.
not that, like, and the whole point of this list is people you shouldn't root for. Think about Rorschach in a sense of deal. Would any of us be looking at our TV or computer screens, reading the news of masked psycho throws 3 out of a building for a scrap of a piece of a letter? Like, this letter could have one A written on, just the letter A written on it by somebody he thought did something wrong, and he'll kill 7 people for that little scrap of paper.
Oh, yeah.
Like, he's like, hey, I couldn't help it. It's like, I wish that his voice wasn't so, like, coarse in the movie, because when I was reading Watchmen, I just thought of, like, a condescending kind of person. Like, have you ever seen those old-time commercials when they're black and white, where it was just, like, a guy was reading a newspaper and looked up and saw the camera? He's like, oh, hello. Like, I feel like that's Rorschach, where he's just like, hi, how are you? I couldn't help but notice that you're raping a little girl in here. That's a no-no. I'm afraid I'm going to have to break all of your kneecaps and then feed you your penis. Like, I feel like I kind of hope that, I kind of wish that, like, that's what I read when I read the comics. It's just like, but he's so passionate about it, like, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
But you shouldn't root for him, because you wouldn't root for a guy like that in real life. Like,
no. I mean,
don't get me wrong. I mean, that's maybe a bad example, because somebody who's raping little girls would deserve all of
obviously.
that. But I'm just saying, oh, you hit your dog with a newspaper. I'm afraid I'm going to have to lock you in a kennel for 6 months.
Yeah.
6 months in the kennel, and then I'm going to throw you into a fucking fire.
Yeah.
Like,
on almost the same levels as the Punisher, only he's more sympathetic towards some minor crimes, of course, because he ignores half of them.
Yeah, like, he's like, I think in the comics once, he, like, walked by somebody getting mugged. Somebody was getting mugged, and he was just like, I'm too busy for that shit. He could have literally reached out one hand and broke the dude's arm or something. He was like, woman getting mugged. Can't deal with that right now.
Yeah, he had a running commentary about the filth of the streets the whole time. Yeah. Then he sees a girl in a short skirt. What a fucking whore.
Yes, stupid whore. She'll deserve to get raped later. Like, he just... He's like, meanwhile...
His inner monologue makes him
that's what it seems like to me. He's just like, stupid whore. She's gonna get raped later. Meanwhile, kid chewing gum. I should kick his ass. Like, I feel like that's what it's like. I feel like that's Rorschach.
Yeah.
He's just like, writes it down in his notebook, and he's just like, 1985. I just found out that I'm a man. This entire time I thought I was a woman. I have to look into that later.
Gonna have to kill off all the men now.
Yeah, just... To-do list, become a feminist. He's so wrapped up in himself. Like,
and his psychosis is just so earth-shatteringly
bad. The thing is, it's hard for me to even call him a hero, because it's his brand of justice.
Yeah.
It's his laws. Out. It's his laws. Like, forget the fact that, like, there are already clearly established laws. He's just like, jaywalking. That's number 1 in my book. Like, that's a misdemeanor in real life. Like, but he's just like, I can't believe you're jaywalking. Time to kill you. Like, just stupid.
Yeah, it's pretty insane.
But that's number 3 for me. What's number 3 for
Number 3 for me is another self-righteous son of a bitch. And honestly, the guy started out as a villain. Sort of. And now, ever since, has been largely regarded as a hero. Except for, the once every decade that he fucking invades the surface world and goes on a self-righteous spree about how could you dare pollute my ocean. Not Aquaman. Aquaman's gotten better. Namor is a fucking bastard. I mentioned the Illuminati earlier. I said Reed Richards might be the least sensitive about it, but honestly, no, it's Namor. we just killed a whole frickin' ship full of largely innocents, and Reed Richards is like, that does suck. And Namor's response is, they shouldn't have been in the same ship as those fuckers.
They had it coming. What do you want?
And
Namor, if you don't know who Namor is, he's...
The Submariner is what they call it.
Namor the Submariner.
Basically, he is Aquaman, but without the true sense of justice, and he's like as ruthless as the Punisher when it comes to meting out what he deems as what he wants, as what should be done.
He's really the pinnacle of
he's
superiority complexes.
Yeah, superiority. He's better just because he's Atlantean.
Like, I can breathe water that makes me better than you.
Yeah, and like I said earlier...
He's like the jock in high school, only times 50. He's just like, I play football, so I'm awesome. And you suck because you don't. Like, he's just... I breathe water and I can swim really well and I punch sharks in the face. What do you do for a living? Yeah. Oh, you run marathons? You're such a bitch. Like, that's who he is.
Yeah, and he's fucking indignant, too.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, but no, I mentioned how he started out as a villain. Basically, he had the whole complex where humanity doesn't treat this world, our oceans right. So you deserve to be wiped off the face of the planet. So he basically had this Magneto frame of mind without the complex depth that Magneto has to justify it. And he just, self-righteous sense of superiority was like, you're just not worth being on this planet. Sorry.
I know. Like, he could meet the most downtrodden human. Like, oh, you lost your family today?
Well, you're just human.
Yeah, I know. He's like, you lost your family today? Oh, that's unfortunate. And your dog died yesterday. Well, the bright side is that your whole fucking race isn't worth a damn.
Yeah.
So it's not just you.
If it had been an Atlantean dog, it might have been sad.
Is that a fish stick you're eating? Like,
yeah.
Oh, you're starving? Here's some food. Is that a fish stick? Like, I'll kill you. He's
awful.
I'll let you. I mean, I get that.
Yeah.
Number 2, moving right along. My number 2 is the Hulk.
Well.
Not because, like, okay, Bruce Banner's not a bad person.
No, he's actually a very good one.
But you should never root for anything that's just like, because I'm the strongest, I win everything! Like, that's the little bastard kid that nobody played with, who lived on the street. I'm awesome because my name is my name. Like, fuck you. That's how we all feel about that guy. But put him big, green, and in a comic book, everybody goes nuts.
And able to kick everyone's ass forever.
Right. They're like, hey, I mean, I get it. I guess it's kind of like the ultimate, like, underdog bully story. Like, Bruce Banner was a little bitch his entire life, then one day he gets blasted with gamma radiation, and now nobody wants to fuck with him. Like, it's like...
Nobody can fuck with him.
But it's just like, I don't feel like you should root for him. He's destroyed cities because he stubbed his toe. Like,
yeah. And again, bringing up the earlier bit
with Reed Richards. You steal my girlfriend? Blah!
Oh, yeah, that never goes well.
I'm just saying, like, Betty, did you fucking sleep with somebody else? What's his name? What's his fucking name? And then he's huge and green, and then he, like, squeezes. It just goes around beating up the city because somebody slept with Betty Ross.
Yeah. And then, not to mention the fact that, 6 people made a, admittedly, not the best decision in the end, choice of sending him off-world because he's too dangerous. Well, yeah, he's too dangerous,
what pisses me off
but
about
he takes it better.
What pisses me off about that is, like, all he wanted out of life was to be left alone. So they tried to ensure that, and he's just like, how fucking dare you make a decision?
Yeah, and 6 people make this decision. He comes back to Earth with an army and starts a world war over it. And by world war, it's the world versus him and his army.
He killed so many innocents in that war. Like, just for, like, what? For Betty to show up and be like, you probably shouldn't be doing this. And he's like, yeah, I probably shouldn't. Hey, guys, let's go home. Like, pack it in now that half the world is destroyed. Fucking, oh my God.
Hulk was... I wouldn't root for him either.
I'm just saying. But people do, and you shouldn't, and these are the reasons why.
Yeah.
Like, what do you got, number 2?
Number 2 was actually one of your earlier entries because I think he's just such a bastard that he is the worst person you could ever root for.
Batman?
Well, not the worst. No, not Batman. We disagree. Ant-Man. He's just that bad. The fact that he just withholds world-saving technology regularly just so he can play team captain. What the hell is your problem?
He's
holy crap.
He's not a fair man.
Oh, also, something that got left out earlier is the fact that he's also a horny fucking old man. Well, not old man, actually. He's just this horny asshole. Because he's basically raped, too. Forgot to mention one.
Yeah, no, that was something.
No, not tonight, honey. Wapow!
Yeah. Yeah.
Not literally in that order. That never happened, but it does seem that way.
There was one, I think they got done with a fight. And he was like, so we're gonna have sex tonight, right?
Stuff
and
like
she's
that.
like, yeah, no, because I'm bleeding from like every orifice. And he's like, not every orifice yet. Like,
and this is for denying me.
Yeah.
He has that righteousness. However, luckily, most of the women he goes after just turn around and punch him in the fucking face.
Right. Like, it's really sad, though, when your wife has to make herself shrink and fly away to get away from you. Like, you can't find me.
Yeah, that's really it, though. Hank Pym, one of the worst fucking characters as far as who you should root for.
Yeah, so to recap, since we're at number 1, for me, 10 through 9 for me, we're Gambit at 10, Punisher at 9, Batman at 8, Cyclops at 7, Iron Man at 6, Deadpool 5, Ant-Man at 4, Rorschach 3, and Hulk at number 2.
Yep, and then I got Lobo at 10, Jason Todd, the Red Hood, 9, Constantine 8, Cyclops 7, 6 is Iron Man, then 5's the Punisher, 4, Reed Richards, 3, Namor, and 2, Ant-Man.
So now to unveil our number 1s. My number 1 was one of your earlier's, John Constantine. I actually think that of all the heroes that you shouldn't root for, John Constantine is number 1. Because not only is he all about John Constantine, but he will stop at literally nothing. There's nothing he won't do. He's like, oh, world crisis? Real quick, I wanted an ice cream sandwich earlier, so I'm going to go get that real quick. I don't care if 3/4 of you die, because I only need 1/4 of you to save the world. Like, so I'm going to go enjoy that nice, tasty treat in my house of mystery while the rest of you die. Like, he doesn't give a fuck. He really doesn't. He's just like, ooh, magical shiny artifact, save this woman. Magical shiny artifact. Like,
yeah, well,
he's such...
To be fair, he does try to go for both, at least at first.
And he just... But when it comes down to it, like, he never picks not himself.
Or at the very least, he picks himself and makes it look like he picked everyone else.
Well, right, but that's the worst part. Like, I remember...
That's what makes it even worse.
Something that we both have... we both currently been reading. Like, we both read, like, Swamp Thing. And we both, we both have been reading things like that. We both also have been reading the Justice League Dark.
Yeah.
Well, do you remember in Justice League Dark when he summoned Swamp Thing just to get him captured?
Just to get him captured.
He used the house. He was like, I'm going to summon this guy real quick. And, like, he did that knowing that he was going to be tortured. And used. He was just like, but I gotta do it. Boom. And then he's just like, and then fucking Swamp Thing's like, hey, Constantine, what's going on? He's just like, hey, man, I need your help. He's just like, oh, okay, I'll gladly help you. Oh, God! And then something horrible happens to him. It's like everybody who's just like, every time John Constantine pops up and he's just like, hey, man, I need your help. They're like, oh, dude. And he's like, I don't know, man. Last time I helped you, something happened. He's like, hey, man, when I saved the world, kind of owe me for that. He's like, well, but you used me to save the world. Yep, about to do it again. What? Nothing.
I will only contest his number 1 spot on your list just because he really is good. Because he could use all that selfishness elsewhere and, well, honestly, do a lot more good for himself. But he really does try to be good. But when it comes down to it, he's got to pick himself. But he's
literally said the only reason he saves the world is because he's part of it. Like,
okay.
There's no world with that. I can't be alive if the world is destroyed.
I do have a slight addendum. I'm also, like you said earlier, you have to hold a character's whole history to them. Like you said for Deadpool. With Constantine, his New 52 is more selfish than his old one, than when he was just straight Vertigo comics. His New 52 version is way more selfish than the other one. Well, okay, way more selfish might be a little strong. But his original stuff, Hellblazer, he is an anti-hero. The way they portray him at first in New 52, he is just selfish above all else. But he might think about doing good once in a while.
Well, yeah, but see, that's the thing. Like, he might do good things, but it's all for John Constantine.
90% of the time, yes. He does do
I'm
good
not
for
going
the
to give
sake
you
of
any
good, though,
lower
based
than
on
98.
Hellblazer.
I'm not going to give you any lower than 98%. Of all the stuff that I've read with John Constantine, it's all about John Constantine.
He does do 90%. I'm sticking with 90 because he's actually done a number of things for the sake of good in Hellblazer comics. Which is before the New 52, which is where most of your experience lies.
Well, I've read Hellblazer before. I mean, I don't have a complete lack of knowledge. But
no,
I mean,
not at all.
I'm just saying that, like, most of the stuff I've read, I mean, I might give you 95 based on what I've read, but, like,
yeah, I know.
He's all about...
He's extremely selfish.
And when it comes to people...
There's a reason he was on my list, too.
When it comes to the reasons you shouldn't root for somebody, selfishness, like, is our theme. Or at least so far in this top 10, and he is by far the most selfish son of a bitch in all of comics.
Yeah, he's the most selfish guy on our list, period. I just don't think that's the only measure.
That's why I have him at number 1. Like, it's not just because he's selfish. It's just because everything he does, like, he ruins people's lives so he can get what he has to get accomplished. Yeah. Even if he doesn't have to do it, just because he feels like doing it on a particular day. I'll ruin your life. Who the fuck are you to me? Time to ruin your life so I can get what I want.
Random
like
people
that's
sometimes, yeah.
Like that is my definition of the worst person. Is when they don't give a fuck about anybody else as long as they get what they want. That's John Constantine. Yeah, so that's why he's at number 1.
You've got points, that's for sure. I mean,
so who do you got? Who do you got number 1?
My number 1, and I'll admit this might be a bit of a contentious kind of choice. But in the end...
Is it my Batman choice?
No.
Contentious?
Well, sort of, except in reverse. This guy, in the end, you could call him a hero for what he has done. Why he has done it. And honestly, you can't say it was out of a selfish desire or anything. It's just because his methods are, well, horrible. Ozymandias. Adrian Vett, the Watchman. He destroyed 90% of the world, blamed it on a person who was trying to do the right thing, and achieved world peace. He was a superhero with the Minutemen and everyone for a long time. Did good as best as he saw fit, and finally saw a way.
And then he killed
to
11 million
world
people.
Peace.
And then he killed 11 million
and then he
people.
killed millions, billions actually, maybe. I don't remember the number. But to cause world peace. And he succeeded.
He did succeed.
He
is really, I mean,
it's
really
contentious
is a bastard.
only because you can't, it's hard to call him a hero, and it's hard to call him a villain, and he's definitely not an anti-hero.
Well, see, I guess that's why he wasn't on my list, because I don't consider him a hero.
That's why it's contentious. I mean, he's actually portrayed as the villain of the Watchmen.
that's why Rorschach is on my list.
But he is underground, secretly the hero of Earth, because he caused world peace. Lasting world peace, apparently.
I guess so, but I mean...
like I said, contentious, but I couldn't think of a bigger... someone you shouldn't root for who did true good. In the worst way imaginable.
I suppose, but I mean, like, in that same respect, like, is it really... was it true good?
Stopped all those deaths from happening again.
Like, I mean, good in its truest form, like, was it really?
Oh, at least good cause.
I mean... I'm just saying, like, I mean, I get your points, and I can understand, like, why, like, but like you said, it's contentious.
Yeah, and
I can understand, like, if I would have thought to put him on this list, he would have been number 1.
Yeah.
But when we were making the list, we said heroes.
Yeah, and honestly,
he doesn't come to mind when I think hero.
For 80%, and the Watchmen covers a lot of ground.
Yeah, it does.
And not just in time.
Actually,
that
we're gonna kind of, as far as like consider this product placement. If you haven't read the graphic novel Watchmen, one of the best graphic novels I've ever read.
Even though I do have a great appreciation for the movie, it is a poor representation of the true final product.
See, I was a big fan of the movie. I really was.
I really liked
I thought that the movie itself actually translated well from the graphic novel. But as far as the amount of content that you feel when you read the graphic novel, they didn't get all of that in the movie.
Yeah.
So I won't say poor representation, but I will say that it doesn't capture all of what the graphic novel was able to capture.
No, there's so much more to it. But anyway, the time frame, all of it, 90% of the time of Ozymandias' work, he is straight hero. He is doing everything he can for the sake of good for the most part. Admittedly, I haven't read before Watchmen. There might be some new stuff I'm not aware of. But honestly, as far as I can tell, he was just a hero through and through until the day came when he just realized to himself that there's a way to stop the need for heroes.
I mean, like I said, if I would have thought to put him on this list, if I would have recognized him as a hero, I would have been right there with it. He would have been my number one.
Yeah. Like I said, contentious choice, I know, but I just could not think of a better person to put there.
I'll agree with you there. So we're gonna wrap up this edition of the Fan's Perspective. Let us know what you think. YouTube comments or on Twitter. You can get to me at Arathios. You cannot get to Westicles because his Twitter
comment on the video
because he openly boycotts all things social media.
Yeah. Well,
so,
no, I got Facebook.
He's got a Facebook. Bother him on Facebook, ladies and gentlemen. But like I am the Double A Ron.
I'm Westicles.
Have a good one.